All right, guys, today we got a 2017 Chevy Equinox with a 2.4 liter in it. The client says that it's running rich and sputtering, and he's put a lot of parts on it to try to fix it. Let's get into it. Top-down scan of the car. We'll come to that in a second. Let's go ahead, and I'm going to read you these notes so you understand what we've got here. So the client states the vehicle has the check engine light on and is running extremely rich. He says you can smell it from the exhaust. The vehicle also cuts off at idle and sputters. He has replaced the high pressure fuel pump twice. He replaced the fuel rail pressure sensor, the map sensor, the VVT solenoid, camshaft sensor, and the timing chain was done at a dealership. So I guess he replaced all those parts, and then the timing chain was done at a dealership. He said when he connects his gauge, I'm assuming maybe a fuel pressure gauge, it will shoot from 20 to 80. He said, which is extremely skewed from where it's supposed to be at a steady 50. So that's the notes that I've got. We've got codes in engine control module, brake module, and the BCM. Just real quick look at the BCM. BCM's tire. Figured that would be that. I'm sure the brake control module is something from the powertrain. Yep. All right, let's look at the engine. It says fuel rail pressure sensor performance. Makes sense from what he's kind of saying. All right, start stop system. Can't see the RPO sticker. It's in there, just can't read it. Oh, that helped with the light. All right, no KL9 on that. So we're gonna go with not equipped. Automatic. And let's look at live data. Engine data. Ooh, that's cold outside. It's so cold there. You open that door and that wind came through here. Woo! Not built for that. Open, fuel pressure sensor. Definitely jumping all over the place, no doubt about that. Fuel rail pressure sensors, pretty steady-ish. Long term, short term, okay, just went into closed loop. And our short term is adding a lot of fuel. Now it's trying to taper out. What I'm looking at is right there. We can see this is 3%. It's going to move a lot slower. But it's definitely not running rich. Well, by the fuel trims, the fuel trims are adding fuel right now. I'm going to have to look up and see what this is supposed to be. Again, we don't have desired on here. All right, well, let's go ahead. Let's back out of this. And let's see if we've got fuel system. There we go. I was just a little quick to go into engine data. That's what happens when you get in a hurry. Fuel pressure, and then our actual fuel oil pressure. Look pretty good. We've got our I need to get the desired, here we go, desired fuel pressure and fuel rail and fuel pressure. All right, so that's where we're at there. Done some research on this code, and let's look at the freeze frame data. It's very important because there's 4 different conditions that could set this code depending on, when it happened, whether it happened at idle, whether it happened driving down the road at lower RPM, higher RPM. And in the freeze frame data, let me show you what I found here. First, let's go all the way down. We have 9 pages of freeze frame data. So we're just gonna go all the way to the bottom because I want to show you. We were at 0 mile an hour. So we were at a dead stop when this happened. Now we're gonna go back. We're not gonna look at our fuel trims. Our fuel trims are irrelevant here. That's not gonna be a problem, I don't believe, with this. I don't see any issue with it right now. I'm gonna show you, again, this is all freeze frame data. Just wanna show you, you can see our fuel trim there was okay. All right. Don't need to look at oxygen sensors. Engine speed, important to know. We're at idle, all right? So we are at idle. Again, I'm going to show you something in just a second so you know where I got this from. And then we can see desired idle speed at the top there. Engine runtime was 30 minutes, so it's not like they just started it up, right? It had been running. Again, this is what you need to do when you're looking for trying to figure out what am I looking for here? What kind of conditions? I want to be able to recreate the conditions. And then, let's see here. Let me show you guys one last thing. So the accelerator pedal, they are at 0. So we're sitting at idle. We were clearly driving it at some point. We came to a stop, and now we're sitting at idle. So that's our freeze frame information. This is the condition we're looking at right here. And I read through that because it says the difference between the low side fuel pressure and the high side fuel pressure is less than or equal to minus 94 or greater than 87. And I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense because the high side pressure is so high always. I mean, but that's the condition we're looking at. I'm going to explain it to you in just a second. I had to do more research on this to figure it out. I went on Identifix after looking at this condition, right? After looking at this condition and going, well, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Something has to be happening. And I couldn't find anything that would tell me why it was doing that, or why would the fuel pressures be, why would they be this close? Why would they be this close to each other? It doesn't make any sense that they would be even near that because the high pressure is so high. So I went into Identifix, put the code in, and again, use Identifix correctly, and it's a really good resource. And then I just went down through here, and I started looking and said, okay, well, what kind of tests are they wanting to run? So I just read through all of this, right? And just looked at to see, okay, they want me to disconnect stuff. They want me to, again, doesn't give me any information as to why am I doing this, right? And then I start looking down through the replacements here. A lot of people are doing the fuel pressure sensors and stuff on here, okay? And then I see that this person here had, and I love it when people put notes in there, said the high pressure fuel pump was backfeeding into the low side fuel system, causing the fuel pressure sensor to become erratic. And remember, our fuel pressure sensor is, the low side is jumping around. Okay, so that doesn't mean that we're going to put a fuel pump in this thing. He's already put 2 in it. But that gives us a clue as to what might be happening. Again, we're just looking for clues here. So I went down through here and I looked through several of these. And again, reading the top stuff, of course, and then reading through here. And here's where, let me see here. I started reading these. All right, and it says the customer replaced the high pressure pump with an aftermarket vehicle would intermittently go into reduced power mode. Scaling tool data would show high pressure desired drop to 0 when coming to a stop, and the vehicle would surge and idle rough. Okay, then he said he replaced it with an OE pump. Okay, so he was driving it down the road, and the desired was coming down to 0. On the scan tool, it was saying desired 0. Okay, why would that do that? Well, that kind of goes in line with what that information about the code said about those two wanting to be 0. If we set the desired to high pressure desired to 0, it means it's going to stop activating the solenoid and the high pressure pump, and the high and low pressure are going to equalize out. That would make sense as to how it was running that test and testing that sensor. So what it's basically saying is I'm testing that low pressure sensor and that high pressure sensor against each other. But the only way it can do that is to have no high pressure fuel pump activation. So we might have a couple of clues here now towards that high pressure fuel pump. One, we've got what may be some backfeed into the low side causing that jumping around sensor. And now 2, we've got this person who said it dropped to 0 and he had exactly the same things, got surge, idle rough, blah, blah, blah. All right. So then I kept reading this, and then I saw this, the next one. This one said the vehicle would run completely normal until you stop at an idle for more than a minute. Under these conditions, the PCM runs a performance test on the high-pressure fuel system. It commands 0 PSI on the high-pressure fuel pump and expects to see base fuel pressure. Basically, what it's saying is it expects to see low side fuel pressure on the high side rail. Now it makes sense. Now I go, okay, this person clearly found that information somewhere. So now what we need to do is go drive this vehicle, monitoring the high side and low side fuel pressure and the desired and activation and stuff. And let's see if we can't, when we come to a stop, let's see if this thing will go to 0, right, desired, and feel how the car acts up. Because here's the thing: when I first looked at this fuel trim or this freeze frame data, I'm like, well, this car is doing it at idle. It's just sitting there at idle. I don't need to go drive this car because I'm sitting at idle right now and everything looks good. But now we've got clues as to how do we really need to drive this thing to recreate the client's concern. We're going to go drive this thing. I'm going to get some data pulled up, and we're going to go drive it, and we're going to simulate coming to, we're going to come to a stop, drive it around, come to a stop for more than a minute, and we're going to watch this data and see if it does, in fact, mirror or follow what these people were saying about that high-pressure fuel pump. So let me grab this data and pull it up, and then we'll go for a drive.
We're going to go for a drive?
Yeah.
You're going to drive it? You're going to drive it?
Did I say that like 15 times or something? I don't know. My gosh, man. Try to think in your head and daggone and do this at the same time.
We're going for a drive.
So we're going for a drive is what you're saying?
I think we should go for a drive.
All right. We're definitely going to get this thing down the road for a drive. I think we're going to have to go for a drive to simulate.
Get the data pulled up, then we'll do the drive.
Because it can only do it when it's on a drive. I've just driven it just from the shop down to the end of our road right here. No traffic. It's running horrible right now. It just started doing it. So we're sitting here right now, and let's go ahead and freeze that. Stop that record. Nope, let it do its thing. It's running really bad right now.
Oh, you just go.
Just guiding traffic here. All right. Let's hit stop. Let's record. Is it okay right there? Just take a look right here. So we can see it dropped desired fuel rail pressure 0, where it's at right now. And desired fuel rail pressure. But as soon as it dropped down to 0 is where it started. Fuel rail pressure sensor says 390 PSI. So there it is. Mm-hmm. There it is. Here's our problem. Desired is 0. Actual is 391 pounds. This should be reading the same as, or real close to that. That's our issue. These two should be close to the same. All right, cool. Now, let's go head back to the shop. Yeah, they definitely, it says engine power reduced on the dash. So we have simulated.
Oh, wow.
What is happening here?
Wow.
We haven't been able to come down this road in a while. They've had it shut down. We got a roundabout, ladies and gentlemen. We have a roundabout.
If you've been watching for a while, wow.
This is the apartment complex, and we now have a roundabout at the apartment complex.
Okay. Wow, that's way different. We can't get up to speed here anymore.
No, but you know what we can do?
Turn around.
Let's turn around with no issues. Wow. Okay. They clearly are preparing for quite a few people to come in and out of that apartment complex.
Yeah.
Woo. All right.
No more test drives back here.
No, not going that. Yeah, no. Watch out there. And at this point, we haven't looked under the hood, so I'm clearly going to look under the hood. Everything is pointing to that aftermarket. Well, he said he got it at O'Reilly's, so I'm assuming
standard probably.
Maybe.
We can look that up.
You might even be able to get maybe Hitachi or something, but maybe that isn't even good enough for this vehicle. I don't know what brand he got. I have no clue. We'll look that up and see what O'Reilly's even offers. But at this point, once I do my visual under here, it looks like it's going to be the high pressure fuel pump is going to be our issue.
These are the ones where we always worry, are they actually going to do it with us? Because he's already done it himself twice.
I mean, he's already done it twice, right? And
Yeah.
now we're going to tell him it needs an OE pump.
And we want to show everybody it's fixed.
Yeah.
So,
We definitely want to show you it's fixed. I mean, again, it's running really bad right now.
hopefully he'll let us do it. Don't get mad at us if he doesn't.
Yeah. See what we can do here. Let's go under the hood there real quick and just see. Let's take, you know what? I do want to look at one thing here. So it's sitting here running really bad right now. Let's take a look and see if what he's talking about with, let me go out of this. I want to look at, fuel trim data. Let's just see if anything happens on the fuel trims to make him think that. I'm just wondering why he went fuel trim. Long term, short term. Just gonna look at those two real fast. Just sitting here at idle. It's really not good. Minus 25, minus 27. This is why he's looking at fuel trim issues right here. Why he thinks it's running rich. Because it is pulling away as much fuel as it ever could pull away. Oh, well, yeah, I don't know. We've got wiring here.
Oh.
Here's our high pressure fuel pump. And hang on, is that going to our map sensor over there? Right out here. Yeah. It goes to, looks like the map sensor there. So our high pressure fuel pump is still factory. So that wiring goes to this is going to the map sensor. All right. Okay. Well, we're not going to worry about that. We don't have an issue on a map sensor. We're not having a map sensor issue right now. I wonder if
Durability test.
Durability test on the O-Light. I don't know if we can get a name off of that or not. It's got that cover on it. Yeah.
You want to know what kind of pump he uses? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I was just looking to see if I could get a name, see if it had a part number, or it's got this cover on it, so it's really hard to see.
I can find out for you if you'd like.
Sure. Let's do that.
Were you wanting to say something about the fuel trims?
The fuel trim makes sense. The very negative fuel trims make perfect sense. If the engine module wants a zero desired high rail pressure, so it wants our high side pressure to be zero, which is not going to be zero. If it commands the pump to go to zero psi on the high side, what it's really saying is, I want the pump to stop functioning, just be basically a pass through for our low side pressure to go through the pump into the rail. If that happens, technically the engine control module is saying zero, but what's going to end up in the rail is 40 to 60 psi, whatever's in our low side. Well, in order for the engine to continue to run, because it's doing this test when it comes to an idle, it's going to have to open the injectors up a lot longer to get the right amount of fuel into the engine to let it run. It's going to do that, but it's going to have 370 something psi behind them, so it's then going to be running really, really rich for what it thinks that it should be, and then it's going to start to have to subtract that out. I hope that makes sense, but this kind of all makes sense in that we've got a low side pressure sensor that's doing this, right? We've got all the stuff happening at idle when this thing's wanting to go to 0 psi. Everything is pointing to this high side pump. So we're going to see what kind of pump you put on here and see if it'll let us put an OE one on it and fix this car. What you got there? What you got, Gracie? Gracie is getting a little sun because it's very cold out here today.
It is HP 16403. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?
We found the pump at O'Reilly's, and it is, by that part number, it's a precision pump. So we're going to need to get an OE pump for this vehicle. So Let's see if the client wants to do this. We're going to get a price on an OE pump, let him know how much it's going to be to do it, and let's find out, if he wants to do it, and then if he does, we'll get it done. Got authorization from the client. He wants us to go ahead and take care of this thing. I'll put it to bed for him. One thing, we do have the parts here. I want to make sure that we're clear on something. When we looked up the parts that he purchased, that precision pump, it didn't say anything about replacing this high pressure fuel line, this feed line. When you look up the General Motors pump inside of O'Reilly's or inside of Parts House or whatever, whoever's got the General Motors pump, it tells you, hey, replace that feed line. Make sure you're doing your due diligence when you're looking up parts to see, are there other parts that I need to buy when I'm buying this part, when I'm replacing this? That could be tortilla bolts, that could be fuel lines, whatever it might be. This is a very, very big one to do. I see a lot of guys reuse these, and I know I'm going to get a lot of comments. I've reused 1,000,000 of them. I get it. I'm not saying you haven't. But if that thing cracks at all, then that's what will happen is they'll get a little crack in them. You could have a very high pressure mist of fuel come out of here, and that's going to catch on fire very quickly. But we don't want that to happen. We'd rather just, cover our bases, do the job like you're supposed to do it, and, charge the client for the parts, and they'll be okay. Just explain to them why. So let's go ahead and get this other one off. Using my absolute favorite electric tool. Although we did see the new ratchets and stuff out there, and I'll tell you what, those bad boys really look good. Can't wait to get some of those. Unfortunately, later this year. They always tease us with the new tools. They're like, oh, let me show you all the new stuff, and then, oh man, I want to get it. Yeah, you can get it in about 6 months. All right.
How come we always end up in the parking lot working on the cars?
Yeah. And we got a whole bay right there to do it in, but we always end up out here. That's easier out here anyway. All right. We got to depressurize the fuel system. So I've got the pump disconnected right here. I'm going to take out the 2 fuses for the fuel pump control module. So we're just going to take those out for now.
Where was the other one at?
It was here and there.
Okay.
But you're going to look them up, obviously, because it could be different for all kinds of vehicles.
I was just saying if they're working on this one.
And now we're going to spin it over. So go ahead and you turn it over while I'm watching this out here. And it's going to want to start up, shut off. Or it's just not going to start at all, which is good. Do it one more time, let's be sure. Yep, do it again. All right, one more time. Key all the way off and then try it. Okay. You can also look on your scanner to be sure that the fuel pressure has dropped to nothing. We're going to pull off the low side pressure, the low side line first. So we're going to take this line off first. Right. So I'm going to go get a tool for that. Let me go get that. I'm going to get some glasses on too. Have a rag ready. Get your release tool kit. The Oshamacher one's a really good kit. It's got a lot of tools in there. Covers a lot of what you're going to need. Really handy thing about it is this little V-cut right here doesn't seem like much, but it's got this rubber band on it to keep it closed. So it's really handy because that way you can just push it on and it will lock right onto the line. And then we can just slide it on. All right, and then we can use our rag so we don't get fuel everywhere. Hopefully there won't be much pressure in there. There wasn't any pressure in there. And then there we are. We're good. And then you just get that back off of there. You're good to go. You won't need it to put it back on, just to take it off. Again, had that kit for a little while. We did notice that there's a bolt that's supposed to be down here, right there. It's not in there for this bracket around it. So we'll have to see if we can't find a bolt for that. one bracket. And then we're at the pump. Different. Okay. All right, well, the first thing we're going to do is go ahead.
You want to show them something there? The two different.
Yeah, it's got two different bolts there. Really weird. I'll show when we get them off.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. There's going to be a roller in here. All right, I'm going to clean that up. Roller's in good shape. I'm going to clean that up a little bit.
When they're doing Volkswagens and stuff, what are they looking for on that roller when you say it's in
older
good shape?
Volkswagens, these things right here will get eat up. Some of them don't have a roller on them; they just flat tap it, and they'll get really messed up, and sometimes it can damage the camshaft. So, but this one's rollers, it's rolling good. Everything's fine there. I'm just going to take a little bit of Scotch Brite and just get that oxidation off of there, so it gets a nice smooth. You know, it can move in and out nice and smooth. Let's go ahead and look at what we got for the new pump. These glasses are not good. Look at these things.
Yeah.
Here's our new pump. New bolts in it, nice. New gasket, so we're all set there. Let me just go clean this up real quick. You go clean this up real quick and then get ready to put that back in. I got some in here. Looking good. Nothing super abrasive, just a little light duty wore out Scotch Brite. I did oil it inside. I've oiled all of this. So we're ready to put that back in. It does have an index. It's got a little piece right here, so it can only go in one way. And we're just gonna, there we go. So that's good. Now we're gonna get the pump put back in here. When you're putting the pump on, you want to be sure that it goes in like that. We don't want to, you know, if the cam lobe is in the wrong position, it could be held way out. So you don't want that to happen. There's a tool that GM's got to make sure it's all the way down, but the reality is if you can get it in there like this, get the bolt started nice and easy, you're perfectly fine. And we're gonna ease these down in there. One side and the other side, kind of like we used to do on thermostats, housings. For those of you that are old enough to remember that. Had to pull it back out because this bolt didn't feel like it was doing anything. This is why the bolt was replaced. That's the correct one. So at some point it got stripped, and I will promise you that got stripped because when it was getting put in, they were using the bolts to pull it down in tight, and that's not what you're supposed to do. It's supposed to be able to get it up in there almost all the way, if not all the way, and then snug the bolts down. So now the predicament is, you know, the problem is going to be here. Can I even get this through the hole on the pump? Or did they grind the pump out? I'm not doing that, I can promise you that. No, there's no way that's going to that pump. And the plot thickens.
Welcome to our world.
Yeah, they drilled the pump out, look. You can see that from here. Wow. Ay, 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 ay. All right. Oh, what fun it is. This one actually, look at here. That's threads I'm pulling off of this. From inside the head. So they did it on both sides. This one will go in. Go figure out a solution. I was gonna helicoil it. I've got a kit in my toolbox to helicoil it to the correct size for the bolts that are in it. Unfortunately, whoever did this, and I'll tell you who it was in just a minute because we talked to the client, they drilled it out and they tapped it to the size that would have been absolutely perfect for a helicoil, the outside of the helicoil, but the thread pitch is wrong. And if I thread this now with the correct pitch, because they've done it to a wider pitch here, then we're not going to have enough threads in there to hold the outside of this helicoil. I hope that makes sense. But basically what would happen is this would screw in, but then there's really not going to be enough bite here to hold it in. And it's more than likely just going to pull right out. And then we're going to be in a really big world of hurt, more so than we are, because then we're even going to have a worse hole here. So we called the client because we're like, hey, there's two options to fix this. Neither one of them are optimal, but one of them is cheaper than the other. We can replace the cylinder head, right? Because then we'll have the right holes and everything there. Or we can drill out the fuel pump like they did. Obviously, if we drill out the fuel pump, the pump warranty is void. Nobody's going to warranty a pump that's been drilled out. And so he's 100% on board with it. I asked him, the first question I asked was, hey, do you know anything about these bolts being different in here? He said, no, He did the first one, but he had a shop do the second one. So he said the shop must have done this. And more than likely what they did was they put the pump in it, right? And they, instead of having the engine in the right position, right? So obviously if we get it on that O-ring, we got to be able to get it in there, right? So we're going to push this in there, but it shouldn't be where it's like pushed out like here and we're pulling it in with the bolts. This is a lot of pressure on that spring. And if once this thing's threaded all the way in, or even most of the way in, it's going to be fine. But if you just got a couple threads here, you got this thing sitting like that, and you've got a couple threads, and you're just, putting this thing in there, you're going to be putting a lot of strain on just a few threads, and it's just going to rip them out. More than likely, that's what's happened. I feel like we did have some threads on this side that were boogered up, that came off.
Side? Sorry, I didn't
on this
see
side, I'm sorry, that came out with the bolt. But I looked at it, and it looks like it's just at the very tip right here. So we're going to hope that's okay, so we don't have to drill and tap that one, because obviously we're getting into this is a pretty straightforward pump replacement, and now we're getting into the stuff that's not fun. So
the other crappy part about this is that he probably has voided that O'Reilly's pump that he put in.
Yeah, because they drilled that one out.
Yeah.
So they're probably not going to warranty that deal. We're going to take this and drill it out. Oh, what fun.
Hopefully we can talk to O'Reilly's, maybe help them out.
Well, the O'Reilly's can't do anything.
Well, the original pump, though, was bad, and this pump was bad, too.
Yeah.
Even if it
just
was
just a bad... I might be able to do this without drilling. I might be able to just knock that sleeve out of there. Looks like there might be just a sleeve in there. Maybe I can just do that. Let me go try that. And we're going to try that and see what happens. And then if not, I'll get it set and ready to go. We'll come back and we'll put this thing in. I've drilled it out. Couldn't knock that piece out. I don't know what it is without pulling it all the way apart, but we had to drill it out. So I got it all taped up so we don't get any shavings anywhere. It was fairly straightforward to drill it. I did get a different bolt. I'm going to show you that in just a second. I got the O-ring wanting to come off of this. There we go. The bolt they had in here was this. Wait a minute, which one was it? Yeah, it was this one. And we can see it's got a pretty good shoulder at the end. I want to give as much as I possibly can to threads as far as threads go. So I got this bolt to put in here. Yeah, it's going to be a different size head, but I mean at this point the thing's about as, you know, what I want the head size to be the same for. I'd rather the thread size be the same. So we're going to roll with this one. We're going to see if it's going to thread all the way down in there, because I don't know. Maybe that's why they've got that shoulder in there. Maybe they didn't even tap it all the way down. We will find out. Let's go ahead and get this in there. I want to, one thing here before I do that. Watch out for Gracie. Put a little lube on that O-ring since I had that tape on there and stuff. All right, we're set. Getting a little stretch. Okay.
It's funny, she just watches us out here.
Yeah, she does. That's a perfect shop cat right there. All right. Let's go ahead.
Try again.
Try this again. And I do have the camshaft, just so everybody knows, the camshaft is in the correct position. It just won't go in all the way because of the gasket and the threads. And let me just try to thread this back out of the gasket so I can show everybody. There we go. All right. Again, this side over here I'm just concerned about, so we're gonna run that in. Oh boy, just a train wreck.
Crazy that the guy did it himself.
And didn't have a problem. And I believe him too.
Oh.
I could tell from talking to him. He's not the kind of person that he wants it to be right.
Same. Yeah, he did it perfectly fine and took it to
a shop.
Professional.
That's
when the problems came in.
I will I'll reserve judgment on the professional side of that.
I was putting it in quotes when I said it.
Oh, okay. I mean, here's the thing. People make mistakes. We make mistakes. I mean, it happens. But you got to do the right repair. Right? When you mess something up, you got to figure out a way to make it right, not make it, let me just get it out of here.
Yeah.
The problem with this is, am I even going to be able to get a proper torque on it?
Yeah.
See, it's not even all the way down there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about as I can't go any tighter than that. It's all the way bottomed out. Wow. Got it cut down just a little bit. Not a whole lot, but hopefully enough. Let's see what happens here.
Round 3. Round 3 or 4?
I don't know what round we're on with this car. Just the simplest fuel pump in the world to put on.
It is. Things can be simple until human hands touch it.
No doubt about that.
Looking a little better.
Hard to tell. Oops. That's tight. All right.
What's the torque on them?
11.
11. 11 what?
11 foot-pounds. I mean, clearly this one over here now, because it's a bigger bolt, 11 foot-pounds really wouldn't be the torque for a bigger bolt.
Yeah.
Well, at least it held it. Hallelujah for that.
Yeah.
All right.
Hallelujah.
I don't believe those were torqued either. It's supposed to be 22 foot-pounds. Remember I said that one was really loose. Unfortunately, my 3/8 ratchet, torque wrench, I'm sorry, 3/8 torque wrench, still waiting on that from Snap-on, from sending it off to be calibrated. So we've got this one in here. I got a good adapter though for taking 3/8 to 1/2 inch. I just got to get it on here and get it in place and get this big old ratchet in here. It's not really optimal sizing here. There we go. Alright, 22 foot-pounds there. Now let's see if I can't do it this way. "22 foot-pounds is not that tight, so. Of course, nothing that load feels tight when you're using a big old wrench like this. Okay. Hey Thomas, I hope you're watching this. You know I love you. Give me my torque wrench. Okay, a bolt will go in it. They just didn't feel it necessary. I'm gonna get a new. Well, here's the other thing. Oh no, that's right. It was on there. I'm gonna get a bolt for that. Okay, let me go grab a bolt like this one. We keep this stuff in stock. It's a huge cost, but when you're needing something like this, I don't want to be waiting for a parts store to bring down bolts. So
I can tell you're not in the mood when you didn't say for such an occasion as this.
I keep my feathers numbered for just such an emergency. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah. But you didn't say it because you're not in the mood, huh?
Really?
This thing's irritating you?
No, this. I'm not gonna say this car's irritated me. I'm just. It's like this was clearly the first thing that was done on this vehicle. I think he said was the high pressure fuel pump. He had it right. You know, he had the right direction.
He had the right diagnosis.
And the fact that, you know, first of all, aftermarket pump just isn't going to do it. I gotta figure out why this doesn't want to sit right. This looks like that's going to be touching on the fuel line. I don't like that. But then, you know, then he's like, okay, goes down the rabbit hole, obviously, because not having access to the information probably that we have. And I'm thinking he probably could have seemed like a smart guy when I talked to him, you know. But then he took us to a shop thinking, you know, let them handle it. Maybe I did something wrong, right? And then no, he didn't do anything wrong. Just frustrating.
Well, and I was talking to him on the phone. I'm like, you know, you had it right the first time, but once that's the danger of this issue right here is that nobody's going to think that there's 3 bad high pressure fuel pumps.
Yeah.
They're going to move on and start replacing other things that don't need to be replaced.
Well, that's the problem is you don't just replace stuff just because you think. You diagnose it, you test out, and you follow the data until it gives you the answer, right? And if it gives you the answer that the pump you put in there is defective, then that's the answer.
Yeah.
But this is why so many guys, and I'm not one of them, and I don't want to be one of them, but so many guys are like, OE only, OE only. They don't want to even put aftermarket parts in it. Because then they do, and then something's bad, then it's like, okay, well, You gonna pay me again to do it again, or it's just a whole. It just turns into a mess. I just feel like it's just getting worse and worse with OE with aftermarket parts. I just do. I mean, I don't just feel like it is. It is. You know that. You deal with it as much as I do.
Mm-hmm. There's still good brands out there. You just got to get more and more picky.
Yeah, there's really good brands out there.
More picky than we used to be. And we've always been pretty picky. But
yeah, we've always been very picky because of our warranty. But now we're having to be crazy picky.
I'm about to be able to show this thing fixed, so that's good. They're probably going to ask if the oil smells like fuel, by the way. I feel like they're going to ask that.
Smells like oil.
He said he just changed it, so.
It smells like Earl. No fuel in there. Alright. Now I'm wondering. I almost feel like. There's no way for us to do it now, but I mean, he had to get it. But I almost feel like there would have been a rubber cover over that would have been held on by this bracket. It wasn't there when we started on it, so I don't know. But now I'm just thinking in my head, because usually they put a rubber cover over those fuel pumps. Not every car, but because they're quite loud. All right, well, this torch back in. Let me double check myself at my brain right here. I love this. The fact that they've got a port here for checking your low pressure. That's really handy.
Yeah, it doesn't get much easier than that.
Yeah, I mean, they got away with those for a while. Tight, 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 back in. Is this? Move that off of that a little bit. All right, that's not touching there. Okay.
Now you're good.
Now it's good.
Yeah. Wanted to finish it up for you.
Yeah. Sun is right on. There it is. Okay. Let's put our fuses back in. Let's get the scanner in it. We'll clear the codes, and then we'll fire it up, take it for a drive. Yeah. Got it running. Just checking for fuel leaks. You want to be 100% sure of that. Everything's dry. Looking good. She's running. Of course, she was running fine before it, I don't remember. We have to go drive it. But before that, we need to clear the codes. We've got all the data pulled up. We're about to go take it down the road. All of our numbers are looking. Oh, well, first of all, let's look at this right off the bat. Right off the bat. I don't know why I'm showing the camera.
Because this car has worn us out.
This is this day. Look at this car. Look at these two right here. Now they're not jumping all over the place. Looks good there. Let me rev it up. Yeah, way better than it was. Way better than it was. All right, let's take it down the road. Let's see what happens.
We know
You have
what's
your
going to
safety
happen.
restraint device?
It's going to be good to go. Here goes Chris.
We went to the end of this block, and that's as far as we had to go to get this to mess up. You had to let it sit and idle for just a second, though. It says a minute, but we didn't have to let it sit that long earlier. We're gonna just see what happens here. Nothing's coming. Let's go ahead and see if it does its thing. Still at desired at 435. But we got to let that desired go to 0, remember. It's not doing it now. Might have to go drive it. I don't think it was warmed up before. Might have to let it warm up. Okay. Well, ain't no sense sitting here. So we are stopped in front of the shop. We've driven it. It's full operating temperature now. We're gonna let it sit here and idle. Well, it did it very quickly earlier. Wonder why it's not wanting to do it now. We've got to get it to run this test to know that it's, you might have to run. There it went. It's at 0 psi. Bam. And look at our fuel rail pressure. Perfect. Well, no, not yet. Did it? Yes, it did. It did. It dropped down. I just saw it when it's popped back up. Yeah.
And it's running beautifully. I mean, I don't even need to watch the data to know.
So it went down, and it went down here. It went to 0, and it went down to 50 something. It matched. Unfortunately, you can't rewind it right there, but.
Well, it did it, and the car ran beautiful. No stumbling, no surging, no nothing.
It's fixed, 100%. Check engine light's not on. It did what it was supposed to do. It just was very fast. I was watching it, kind of comparing it. By the time I looked over here, then it had already popped back up again. So it doesn't do it for long. But yeah, I think we're good. That fixed it. OE pump fixed this problem. And the man had it right to begin with, just unfortunately got a bad part. That's what happens. Aftermarket parts. So if you're dealing with one of these, don't get an aftermarket fuel pump. Get a OE GM pump, and you'll be fine. You can buy them from the parts store. All the parts stores had it. Just did the final look over. Everything looks good. No leaks. We're looking fine. No fuel leaks, no oil leaks. We're all good under here. Guys, I hope you like this. This is definitely one to put in the books if you're working on one of these things, to go OE. And that might be something we might have to do for a lot of stuff in the future, but hopefully not. Appreciate you guys watching. You know what to do. Hit that thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe button, bell notification. We're going to have a lot of Diag videos coming your way, hopefully real soon. We're just going to start pounding them out here, so hope you like that. If so, leave a comment down below and let us know you do. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.